Welcome back to CFB Nation. You're watching CFB Prime, episode 6. I'm your host, Nino Brown. We're going to talk a couple topics today. I'm going to talk about these Heisman Trophy, favorites. I know it's early 2024. We're going to talk about has college football gone money crazy with this new playoff? We're going to touch a little bit on a couple guys in the portal, Landon Lee, as the portal closes, and this guy's out there still. But there's a couple names just want to touch on, see where they're going. What's your thoughts? So we talk about these Heisman guys. Let's get right into it here. Got them broken down into tiers, right? Tier 1, Caleb Williams, Drake May. I know it's early, right? But those are the obvious candidates. There's some sleepers, some dark horses out there that could catch lightning in the bottle. And some of those guys could be in the second tier, right? Bo Nix, my guy out of Oregon, he's plus 1,100. Jordan Travis, Florida State QB, he's plus 1,100. Another guy I got here in the tier 2 is Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington, he's plus 1,100. Quinn Ewers, QB from Texas, plus 1,300. Sam Hartman, transfer over from Wake Forest, Notre Dame, he's plus 1,400. And that rounds out the second tier. In the third tier, we got Kyle McCord, QB for Ohio State, plus 2,200. Donovan Edwards, running back, Michigan, plus 3,500. And then Nicholas Singleton, running back from Penn State, at plus 3,500. At tier 4, we got Jeff Sims, QB from Nebraska, plus 4,500. Marvin Harrison Jr., Ohio State wide receiver, is at plus 4,500. Let's go back to the second tier. There's some guys. I could go on forever about Bo. You've heard me rant forever, but Jordan Travis just pops off the page to me. He developed and progressed last year, well beyond I think anybody thought he could do. 13 games, 64% completion percentage, 3,200 yards, 24 touchdowns, 5 picks. I mean, 82 attempts on the ground for 400 yards and 7 touchdowns. He was sacked 15 times on 352 dropbacks, but he had an ADOT of 10.4. He's got guys, big targets. Johnny Wilson, transfer over from South Carolina. Gamecocks is Jaheim Bell at tight end, who's like a Swiss Army knife. Last year he played in the backfield. A guy that had a lot of buzz before the spring game, about a breakout year. He was working on staying tight, giving Travis room to throw the ball, working on his releases. That gentleman is Kentron Portier, wide receiver. I mean, he had a sick one-handed grab in the spring game. He also caught a touchdown, from Jordan Travis in that game. The opportunities that Micah Pittman went to the portal, right? So the buzz of him having a breakout year already happened. Pittman's gone. I can see it happen. I can see it being another target for Jordan Travis. Another year where Jordan Travis has taken that step in growth and development on the Mike Norvell as his head coach. He's got, and another reason why I think he could be in this Heisman talk is he's got defensive dogs that are probably going to get him back on the field more than he was last year. Jared Verse returns, Fabian Lovett, and Fentrell Cypress III. They're going to keep him on the field. Right? They're going to get offenses to go into 3 and outs, quick drives that end and stall. Travis will be back on the field again. The offense will have, good field position. Let's just take a rundown their schedule. First week LSU at home against Southern Miss. Then they go away to Clemson on the road. Cade versus Jordan Travis. That's popcorn material. Dabo versus Mike Noel. Let's get it. Then they're back home against Virginia Tech. Back home against Syracuse. This is a game that people probably aren't really talking about too much. They're at home against Duke. I'm a big Riley Leonard guy. I don't know if people in the scene aren't really into him or haven't caught some of his tape, but he's electric. Guy gets it done on the ground and throwing the ball. And it's a dog on the defensive side of the ball for the Blue Devils. And DeAndre Carter is an edge rusher. He is just a behemoth of a man who can dip and get around, offensive linemen fast. So this game, I'm not sure. This is going to be a battle game. Do I think Florida State wins this one? Yep, probably. But this could be a test for Jordan Travis in the Heisman talk, right? Then on the road at Wake Forest, on the road at Pitt, come back home and face Miami, close out the season with a cupcake with North Alabama. So I run down the schedule. 9-2. Maybe you get a loss to Clemson. Maybe you get the loss to Duke. Maybe they beat Duke and they only lose to Clemson at 10-1. Or can they run the table? Because if Travis is going to be in this end of the season run for a Heisman talk, they got to be, that 10-1, 11-0 in that college football playoff. And he's got to be just dogging it out. And you're already seeing, videos on the Angry Blue Bird, Twitter atmosphere. He's throwing flat-footed, no movement, 55 yards downfield. So, the strength, the growth is there. But let's see what happens this year. Let's see if Johnny Wilson can progress as well and not just be a big target. He dropped a couple balls last year that were. I like his game. I need to see more development to help Travis progress into that next level. There was a big, in the end zone against, I believe it was Arkansas, that he had that just was terrible. He needs to tighten it up, but he has a chance. This next gentleman, Michael Penix Jr., has all the chance in the world at plus 1,100. The Huskies are bringing back possibly one of the top 5 receiving corps in the country. Okay, they're fully healthy. Romeo Nduze had a breakout season under Michael Penix last year. Jalen McMillan is back. Jalen Polk is healthy. He's back. Penix last year in 13 games was 65% completion. He completed 360 balls, right? 4,641 yards, 31 touchdowns, 8 picks. Mediocre on the ground, 92 rush yards, but he did have 4 touchdowns. Key factor in for me with Penix here that I like. His offense stays the same. His patch catches are all healthy, and they're all staying home. But they're bringing in a pass-catching receiving back, and Dylan Johnson transferred from Mississippi State. Dude averages like 40 receptions a season for the past 2-3 years. So now you're giving him a weapon out of the backfield, where when Penix was kind of like trying to just run around and create space, get Oduze McMillan to get off a guy and make their own route, he's going to have a guy that's open or can find a way to get open within that 5-yard dump range. I think that's a huge bonus for Penix, even in the passing game. Now, again, as I mentioned with Travis having those dogs up front, the Huskies are returning 2 elite pass rushes in Braylon Trice, and I'm terrible with names, so bear with me, Zion Tulupu Fatui. Right? These 2 gentlemen can just get to a quarterback and wreak havoc. They're going to get, they're going to get 3 and outs. They're going to give Michael Penix a short field on offense, which is going to be great for his numbers, which is going to be great for the Heisman talk. And he's surrounded by, again, between the wide receiver being top 5 in the country, this is probably one of the top 5 coaching duos in college football. And Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb. I'm all in on Grubb. I'm sold, and I think that Grubb is the guy that makes the pot stir for the Huskies. Everybody's going to fall in love with Kalen DeBoer. I get it. But if you do a little research, go back to Grubb. Everywhere he's gone, his offenses have just been elite. So them 2 together, with Michael Penix playing at a high level, he's got to be in this talk. Now, the next guy in this tier that I really like, could surprise some people, that's Sammy Hartman, plus 1,400. Comes over Notre Dame, right? After last year having a health scare, a blood clot, missed a couple games. He played 12 games. He was 63.1% completion, right? Completed 270 balls, 3,700 yards, 38 touchdowns, 12 picks. He only had 129 yards rush on, and he had 1 touchdown on the ground. But he had guys like A.T. Perry and Donovan Green. Not to mention Jamal Banks is probably going to be, wide receiver 1 over there, over Donovan Green this year, with A.T. Perry going on to the NFL. Now, I know that Tommy Rees was an underlying factor as to why Hartman came to Notre Dame, but he's gone, right? He's now with Alabama. But the new OC, Gerald Parker, runs the same pro-style offense. So I think that also played a factor in why Hartman didn't re-enter the portal and said, I'm here. This is my team. I'm rolling with them. Notre Dame's got an easy schedule. Navy first on the lineup. I do know it's overseas in Ireland. So, it's on an even playing field. But Notre Dame's got way more talent on their roster. This should be an easy one. Then they get Tennessee State at home, on the road at North Carolina State, at home against Central Michigan, at home against Ohio State. That's a big one, right? Then they get this Duke team that I keep talking about, but they're at Duke, at Louisville, at home against USC and Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. I don't know. That's a big one. Awful week. At home against Pitt. Going to Clemson Memorial Stadium against Dabo. They got a week off. The redemption game for Sammy Hartman at Notre Dame versus Wake Forest. We're closing out the season at Stanford. I'm not going to go through the schedule with blind eyes. 9-3, 8-4 is where they're at. Is a 9-3, 8-4 record going to get them in the college football playoff? I don't think so. He's going to have to ball out, or they're going to have to win some games that they're not expecting to win. Can they keep it close in the Ohio State game? I don't know if that defense can stay with that receiving core. I just really don't know. In the Clemson game, it's possible, right? They're losing a lot of guys. They lost 3 guys on the defensive side of the ball. I understand Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is there in the linebacking core, but they lost Murphy, Brzee, right? They lost Simpson, KJ Henry. They lost a lot of guys. So I don't know if that defense is going to be the same. Will Fighting Irish and Sammy Hartman be in there? Possibly. What has Sammy Hartman got to do to get himself in this Heisman talk? Last year was 3,738 touchdowns. Didn't even get a buzz of it. Now he's playing ACC again, right? Because Wake Forest, ACC competition for the most part. He's going to have to ball out against Ohio State. He's going to have to ball out in these big games. I just don't know. But at that price, it's a possibility. He's a dark horse. If he catches lightning in the bottle in the senior year and ready to fully healthy off that, blood clot, who knows? We'll see what happens. Notre Dame's got talent. In the last couple of years, the wide receiver department, they're bringing them in, right? They have Greathouse, Tobias Merriweather. They just keep bringing in dudes. Makai Gilbert just signed a 3-star recruit. He's a dude. So we'll see what happens. But just keep Sammy Hartman in the back of your mind. Another sprinkler, right? At plus 4,500. Just want to touch on him. Is it possible? What's he got to do to get there? That's Jeff Sims. Can he sprinkle some magic in Lincoln, Nebraska? Well, with the college football guru Matt Rule at the helm. I mean, Matt Rule in college football wins, right? Now, especially with Casey Thompson going in the portal, everything's spelling out QB1 for Sims in the Big Ten. Is he ready for this challenge? Can he step up and ball out against these teams in the Big Ten, right? He's got some guys in wide receiver department. See what happens there. Malachi Coleman is a freshman coming in. You have Betts at the wide receiver, who's probably going to be wide receiver 1 for them. They got a big tight end transferred over from Georgia. They got some running backs here. And this is where I think will help Sims, because Anthony Grant and Gabe Erwin Jr. are going to open up defenses. They're good. They're fast. They're explosive. They're going to wear down these defenses. They can play action over the top. And they're also going to open up lanes and move linebackers out of place so Sims can use his legs to put him into this Heisman race. He may be the dark horse you've seen in the late years, but this is the best team Jeff Sims has with the best coach he's been placed around. And we look at the schedule. Let's take a quick look at Minnesota, at Colorado, right? At home versus Northern Illinois. At home against La Tech. At home against Michigan. That's a big one. Big one. On the road against Illinois. At home against Northwestern. At home against Purdue. On the road against Michigan State. Back home against Maryland. On the road against Wisconsin. That's going to be a dogfight. And then back home against Iowa. 9-3, 8-4. Like, Wisconsin, I think, is an L. Michigan, I think, is an L. Michigan State, I don't know, because I don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. We don't even know who wide receiver 1's going to be over there right now. The portal's, closed, but people committing hasn't ended, so things could change. Is a 9-3 Nebraska team led by Jeff Sims, who throws for, say, 32 to 3,500 yards, 25 plus touchdowns, but gets, 600 yards in the grounds and touchdowns? Does he sprinkle his name into this, or just Caleb Williams and Drake May run away with it? But then this last dark horse, before we get into the nonsense of college football playoffs, is Marvin Harrison Jr. at plus 4,500. Does Marvin Harrison Jr. have to have a JSN type of season to put his name in this Heisman Trophy talk, right? Can he do that with this prep school QB, Kyle McCord? They've been playing together for a long time. Now they're back at it, reunited, and it feels so good. What does it take to get him in this conversation? 80 plus receptions, 1,500 yards, 15 plus touchdowns, all 3 combined? Is it even possible with the talent surrounding him in this wide receiver room? Bullard, Ibuka, newcomer, Connell Tate, are they going to eat into his receptions? Or is he just going to be that big play guy that takes it to the house and gets 15 plus touchdowns and is just dogging on all these DBs in college football? We'll have to see. These are my thoughts on guys outside of the norm, right? Everybody's talking about the top two guys. We don't need to talk about them. Everybody's, not everybody. People are talking about Bo Nix possibly getting himself in there, and then you got Quinn Ewers, obviously, if he can turn it together. I'm not going to talk about those guys. I'm going to talk about different fellas, guys that were, dark horses. Like I said, lightning in a bottle type dudes. So I broke them down. Now let's get into this ridiculous college football playoff has gone money crazy segment of the show. 2024, 2025 postseason schedule. Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday in 2024. Saturday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday in 2025. I got to go with my guy Jake Crane here when he says nobody likes Mondays. Why would you put the national championship game on a Monday? I understand you don't want to compete with the NFL and the playoffs. Sure, I get that. But why not a Friday or even a Thursday? Because we all know the majority of college students and the 21 to 30-year-old demographic are expected to either be late or call out on a Friday morning. So why not rearrange the early games? And let's get this natty on a day when actual college football fans will be able to, and for lack of a better term, want to watch, especially with a change in the playoff structure and conference merging. Let's maximize viewership, right? Like, hello, McFly. I mean, it really isn't rocket science. Or maybe, just maybe it is rocket science for the powers that be that aren't really college football fans. It really is that difficult because they just maybe don't get it or just don't care anymore because it doesn't interest them except for the money. Maybe the wrong people in positions of power just don't care about college football anymore. And is this a domino in a long line of shit shows coming down the pipeline from college football? I sure hope not. I hope that this is a one-time deal. I know it's 2 years and done. And we go back to having normal games on normal days. But once again, can you really trust the powers that be at college football? All right. Enough with that rant. Let me get on to a couple guys in the portal before we close out CFB Prime episode 6. TJ Finley enters the portal for Auburn. And the rumors swirl that former Michigan State Peyton Thorne is coming in town with this P5 experience. Now, does that mean that Robbie Ashford's done? Oh, he has no chance at winning the QB1 job? Does that mean that Hugh Freeze has his QB for the future? Because there was rumors just 2 days ago that Casey Thompson was going to Auburn for a visit, and he was the guy. Does Freeze want to get a young guy with P5 experience that he can ride for 2-3 years? Or is Holden Greer the dude at the QB2 spot that is his guy to ride out for the future? I guess we'll have to see and wait. Another interesting one was former Cincinnati Bearcats quarterback Ben Bryant lands in Northwestern to battle with former South Carolina Gamecock Ryan Helinski. Now, Bryant coming off a so-so year from Cincinnati. I guess his last year of eligibility, wants to go out there and just get a start and roll and go. Is he the starter right away? Did he automatically win that job? Or can Ryan Helinski, push him to the QB1 role? We'll have to see. But there's a guy out there in the wide receiver room in the name of Jacob Gill that you're going to want to look out for. Maybe him and Ben Bryant get clicking early and Bryant can win that role. But we'll have to see what happens out with Northwestern. Shout out Northwestern Wildcats. Evan Hull getting drafted to the NFL. That's my guy. So let's close out episode 6 of CFB Prime. Appreciate everybody tuning in and watching. We're going to be diving in all these random topics as we go forward. People say this is the off season. I've never heard of it. I don't know what they're talking about. It's just poppycock and BS. There's no off season at CFB Prime. There's just always in season. We just always give you content. We'll always doing interviews. We'll always push into the next level. So tune in Mondays to Tuesdays for CFB Prime. Wednesdays with college football mornings with my guy KT. We got my guy Coach doing the Armory, Dino on a Hawk's Nest, and as soon as Shakedown is crushing with my guy Boomer. So tune in, never miss it. Who knows? You might have a show coming up soon about your favorite team, because I know my guy Brian Bosage over at Draft Countdown's got something special coming for you guys soon. So once again, I'll see you next week. Come on in on Monday and Tuesday. We got you for CFB Prime. I'm your guy, Nino Brown. Keep it real, and we out.